Today we'll be learning about Alaska natives. This is brought to you by Brianna Tarpley, Seema Hargrove, Emily Loom, Erica Dorman, Alexa Dennison, and Patience Ruto. First, we will start off with a little background history. These groups can be divided into 5 major groupings: the Aleutians, the Northern Eskimos, Southern Eskimos, Interior Indians, and Southeast Coastal Indians. These groupings are based on broad cultural and linguistic similarities of peoples living continuously in different regions of Alaska. They were divided based off language and location. They do not represent tribal or political units. Once merged together, they became the Alaskan Natives. And as you can see, the time of contact for Alaskan Native groups. In 1870, all groups had merged together and met. Next, we have culture.
Alright, so we're going to be talking about culture. Traditions were and are very important to the Alaska Natives. They have a very strong sense of community where they respect their elders for their knowledge and experience, and they are very big on binding families together and community together. Part of that is based on their history of when there was, say, like a hunting trip or a trapping trip or whatever, and they brought food back to the village. It would be shared with everyone. It was a way they survived. They would also, as part of celebrations or school dances or whatever, they would have a lot of dancing and music, usually with a pretty strong beat, usually with drums, sometimes with voices in there, and they would actually tell stories through dance, and it was a way of communicating across language barriers because there were multiple languages that were actually spoken in Alaska. So the traditional means of transportation is obviously the dog sled. I think that's pretty common knowledge. They actually switched over, though, in the 40s and 50s after World War II, when a whole bunch of pilots started showing up. They started getting jobs as what we now call bush pilots. They would fly around. They'd be, moving mail and whatnot. Anyway, so a lot of Alaska Natives started getting pilot's license and food goes, they ate a lot of meat. They had a lot of raw meat, and this actually led to very strong and healthy jaws, which you can actually still see in them today.
Next, we have a clip from a local news station. Headline reads, "Coming up, a look at Alaskan climate and how to dress for this weather," from reporter Seema Hargrove.
Good morning. I'm Seema Hargrove, reporter for CCCNS, and I'm here in Anchorage, Alaska, reporting on Alaska's climate and clothing. Alaska has many low temperature records that are also U.S. records. The lowest temperature was January the 23rd, 1971, negative 79.9 degrees Fahrenheit, and there are the other records on my board. When people think of Alaska, they usually think of cold, but temperatures in the summer can be as high as 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the interior region of Alaska. Fairbank temperatures range from the 80s to the 90s. Where would you think it would be coldest? The Arctic? Well, no, it's the interior region. Summer is May to September. It starts with the inside passage region and goes north. May is the driest in all regions. July temperatures are 70s to 90s. The coast is the coldest at 65 and below. Winter is October through March. The south has mostly snow. Snow starts in early October in the interior and Arctic regions. The Arctic is desert-like, having less than 5 inches of rainfall a year. Alaska clothing. The Yupik people of the southwest region of Alaska developed the most effective cold weather clothing. It is known as Eskimo clothing. There are many types. The most common is the parka. They are made from various animal skins, fur, and intestines for insulation, woven grass for waterproofing. The parka hood is a common hat. It is trimmed with fur to protect the face, and I have one on my poster as well as parkas. Pants were made from sealskin or fur. Snow goggles were used for hunting, and they're on my poster as well. And they were painted black inside to reduce glare, with small slits used to protect the eyes. Long waterproof mittens, such as these on my poster, were lined with woven grass for warmth and used for kayaking, dog sledding, and working fishnets. Eskimo boots, murlocs, were soft knee-high boots that were lined with fur or woven grass, and they were the most effective, comfortable, and durable footwear for the harsh weather and terrain of Alaska.
Next, we'll learn about the language of the Alaskan natives. These groups have developed into a widely diverse indigenous population today that speaks more than 20 different languages and/or dialects. Most Alaskan natives speak standard English, and many in addition speak their tribal languages or reservation dialect English. When speaking to someone that is Alaska Native, long pauses in conversation can be common and indicate careful consideration rather than disinterest. It is considered disrespectful to speak when someone else is talking, even to interject affirmations such as yeah, and really. It is called walking on words. Remaining somewhat stoic, even when experiencing intense pain, is considered a great personality trait. Blatant emotional demonstration is commonly frowned upon, except during funerals when the bereaved attempt to sit a soul along the ghost road with wails and moans. Alaska Natives generally avoid loud speech and direct eye contact because they consider these behaviors as confrontational. Direct eye contact was traditionally believed to be an attempt to steal one's soul. It is common to refer to oneself in third person and/or use anecdotes or metaphor when discussing personal medical concerns. For example, a patient may talk about a sick friend instead of directly acknowledging their own situation.
I'm Patience Ruto, and I'm going to be doing the religion part of the Alaskan natives. So I'm going to start. And the Alaskan natives practiced meditation as the central point of religion. So everything they did revolved around meditation. So this was meditating between people, between souls, mortal beings, and spirits. So they believed in this and they practiced. So among them, they had groups and they all practiced this. And their last known medicine man was in the 19th century. And he was known as Saldok, yes, and who was believed to have the ability to travel under the sea to the sky. And he also used ventriloquism and the sleight of hand. So these were like his powers that these people believed that this medicine man had. And he was also the leader when they're meditating because he could travel under the sea, the sky, and he could communicate with the souls and the spirits between people, between the physical world and the spiritual world. So he was like their religious leader. And currently, with time, their religion has faded and they don't really practice it. And because currently, most of them have converted to Christianity, and a very small percentage of them, less than 0.5% of the current population, is practicing Judaism, Islamic, Buddhism, and Hinduism. But
we're going to be discussing illness and death amongst Alaska Natives. According to the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, the 10 leading causes of death for Alaska Native people are cancer, heart disease, unintentional injuries, suicide, COPD, CVAs, chronic liver disease, pneumonia, influenza, diabetes, and alcohol abuse. Native people are more likely, in compared to U.S. whites, to die of 9 out of 10 of these deaths at a 51% rate. Some older adults use the phrase feeling funny to communicate any illness or symptom, and when they are at their physical exam, they require all information to be given, be it the good, the bad, treatments, why treatments didn't happen, and why they did occur. Depending on the cultural grouping, each area speaks about death differently. Yupik adults refer to death as loss of breath, longer hair, no longer a person. Alaska Native elders believes it goes against the greater creator to exercise extraordinary artificial measures, so they will require DNR. General belief amongst Alaska Natives that if your time has come, you have to respect the dead and do the process of dying and respect the process of dying. And some Alaska Native cultural groups do not believe in cremation or organ donations, while others do. However, when addressing the organ donation, the culture values the idea of sharing what you have and taking care of others. So, in their death rituals, there are several types of Alaskan funerals, also known what we would consider funerals. And there are different kind of ceremonies in Alaska. So there are the funeral potlatches, 20-day feasts, 40-day feasts, memorial potlatches, and payoff potlatches. So the funeral potlatches are usually done immediately after the death of the individual and is done amongst the intermediate family. And it's the proper treatment of the body and the remains of the deceased. So the other ceremonies that I mentioned before are the second ceremony, which occurs after a time period of the death of that family member. And it is believed that the spirit of the deceased completes the transition from the living to the spiritual world through these ceremonies.
Lastly, we have folk medicine used by the Alaska Natives. Okay, so in folk medicine, it is performed by traditional healers. It's currently dying down because when traditional healers pass away, they have to pass on their medical knowledge, and most of them have not done so to the current generation. But in the top left-hand corner, that plant is known as the Devil's Club, also known as Alaskan ginseng. The most noted use of this plant is for colds, cancer, depression, and stomach problems, and it can also be used for broken bones, burns, coughs, chest congestion, and inflammation. It is considered a strong medicine due to its effect on the psychopharmaceutical aspects and can be used only under the guidance of a traditional healer. Next, we have the dandelion. It is in the lower middle picture. It's just a generous source of vitamins such as A, B, C, and D, and it has various minerals. In the upper right-hand corner, that plant is known as the willow leaves. Willow leaves are used in poultice or baths for skin infections or irritation, and the leaves can be chewed or placed on insect bites for pain relief. Willow ash can be sprinkled on severe burns or to prevent infection in cuts. It is also used in some forms of over-the-counter aspirin. This is our works cited page. This is where we found some of our information. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about Alaska Natives. I know I did. And I had a great time putting together this presentation, and I hope this all helps you out.